When it comes to home gyms, one of the biggest downsides is lower body exercise selection. Like over the past 4.5 years, my leg exercises pretty much consisted of squats and lunges right here, which are great exercises, but it does get old doing the same thing over and over and over again. And when you get to a certain weight, it can just start to hurt. Like I was doing 185-pound lunges the other day, and my knees were hurting more than my quads, which isn't ideal. You want the muscles to be in pain, not your joints. And I did buy this leg extension, leg curl bench right here that has helped with doing some other exercises, but for the compound lifts, I've pretty much still been stuck with those same things. But that has all changed now that we have this new leg press hack squat machine from RitFit. Now, I've been looking at buying one of these for over a year. I've been looking at different brands, trying to see pros and cons of them. So when RitFit got in touch with me and offered to send this to me for review, I was very happy to accept. Now, you get multiple exercises with this, a hack squat combination leg press machine. So 2 big compound lifts there that are the things I typically would go to a gym to do just so I can get a break from doing squats and lunges. Now there is one downside to this machine when it comes to range of motion, especially with the leg press, but there is a really easy solution I found to that makes it work perfectly. So make sure you stay tuned to that. Let's take a look at this machine, what you can expect, and see how well it works. We're gonna start out with testing the hack squat version of the machine. We got a back pad here, rail, safety rails. Do some warm-up sets here. I like the angle for my knee there. This bottom pad is adjustable, so I'm gonna put it down a little bit. That way my feet aren't at a direct right angle, kind of like if you're doing squats and you put plates in your feet. You get better mobility for your ankles and feels a little better on the knees. So let's try this out. First set felt pretty good. Once I adjusted the foot pad down just 1 notch, it felt a lot better on my knees. Really comfortable, good range of motion there. And this machine took about 3 hours for a friend to help me put together. And one of the things I really liked with their set was that the hardware was all laid out into separate sections, labeled by step. So as I'm going through the manual on how to put it together, step 1, I had step 1 here with all the hardware for that, then step 2, 3, all the way through the whole thing. Other machines I've used before, you just get a big sealed piece of hardware and you just have to figure out which piece goes to what. And this just made putting it together a lot more simple without having to try to figure out what goes to what. But now moving on to the second warm-up set, we put some weight on the rails here. The rails are underneath. This thing can hold up to 1,200 pounds, which I'm not gonna be hack squatting or leg pressing that much, but hey, if you got massive legs, you have that available. That doesn't take much weight. It's already starting to burn. The back pad on the machine is just hooked in by a little pin, so it can move around back and forth. That's not really an issue because you just get it where you want it to lean against it. It's not gonna move in the middle of the exercise. And to me, that's nice because you're not having to clip stuff in and take a lot of time. You can literally pull the pin, take it off, set it back up down here so that you can do the leg press version without having to unhook and rehook up a lot of stuff. You can go from one to the other really quickly. All right, going up 90 more pounds for my working sets. Yeah, I think that's gonna work pretty well. Whew. All right, just finished up 3 sets of that with a drop set on the last one. Definitely working well. My legs are already getting tired. But that's another thing I like about stuff like this. being able to do drop sets on that last one. I can do a bunch of reps, hop off, strip some weight real quick and keep going. Whereas you could do that with squats. I've done it before, but it kind of sucks the life out of you and you just feel like you're gonna crumple if you can't get up. Whereas this, you have a bunch of safety catches all over the place, so you can just go all the way down, get off. No big deal. But before we move on to the leg press and show you that technique for improving the range of motion, there's another exercise you can do on here, which I really like, because when it comes to calves, I typically am always on the back of a bench doing calf raises, and I'm holding a weight in the hand and having to do one calf at a time, so it takes twice as long. And I just don't really like it. I like being able to get into a machine, locked in, doing calf raises, focus on doing that. So there's actually a couple ways of doing calf raises on this machine. I'm gonna demonstrate one right now, and then we'll get on to the leg press. That is way nicer than doing calf raises on the back of the bench. Being able to get locked in, really focus on the calves, because I know there's times I'm probably cheating and bouncing up when it gets hard when I'm doing calf raises on the bench. But with this, I can focus on just my calves. You can really slow down, get a good stretch, and push up and hold it. Plate loaded, so it's easy. Throwing the weights on, tracking how much you're doing. But now, let's move on to the leg press. All right, now this is where we get into the downside of the leg press. We've got our handles here. Hold yourself, keep you locked in. I like to put the back pad all the way down, so I'm able to pull my legs in as much as possible without a lot of stress on my lower back. So we bring this in slowly, and it stops there. It's pretty much right at 90 degrees. You can do that, and you'll still get a leg workout. But ideally, you want to bring your legs as far back as you can. The more stretch you get on the muscle, the more you're going to work it, and you get the most bang for your buck at the most stretched position. So you can improve and get more muscle this way, but there's a simple, about $35, $36 fix that I was able to do for this. My girls do gymnastics, and we have these gymnastics pads. So take this off. Put this pad on here, put the back pad against it. That's an extra 7 inches of travel now. Let's see how much of a difference that makes. My butt still is able to get onto the seat here. And now check out the range of motion. See how much further in that goes? I can't even stretch more than that. So, and it's hitting the stops now, and that's perfect. So now, I can run it all the way to the stops while getting the most stretch possible. Back up. Let it come all the way down. Pause. Push back up. So that makes a huge improvement. On future versions of the machine, I think this could easily be fixed by placing the side handles on the side here, and then the rails can come all the way down next to your hip. And that way you can come in a lot further if you want to get that maximum full range of motion like we were demonstrating with this back pad. So I'm gonna add some more weight and get my working sets done. So that pad makes a huge difference. Being able to get my legs down that far, pausing at the bottom, then pushing up, it'll really burn your quads all the way up to your hip joints, and it makes this machine work really well. So I'll have that link in the description as well for that Amazon pad. They're pretty cheap. A really easy fix and to enable you to get that full range of motion on this machine. But before we finish this review, there's one more exercise we can do on here, and I just call it the leg press calf raise. So I'll show you how this works, because having more calf variations is always a good thing as well. So instead of using the actual pad up there, I'm putting my feet on the slider machine on the bottom of it, your toes will fit there really well. The one thing you have to be aware of though is the weights here. When you start stacking, you have to leave some room for your heels to be able to bend into it really well. Otherwise, your feet will just stop right here. And you want to get as big a stretch as possible. And just like with any other exercise, stretch and push. You don't want to sit here and go like this, like I see people doing. Your calves are just like every other muscle. Get a full stretch, full contraction. That burns. And that is it for the RitFit combination hack squat leg press machine. This is definitely a great addition to the home gym, and this definitely would be a great investment if you're wanting to get more leg equipment for your gym, especially if you get that pad to add on here to increase the range of motion. Right here, I got links for both in the description. This is available on Amazon right now, over $100 off, plus you get free shipping, so that's a really good deal. And I'm not gonna totally replace my squats and lunges. They're great exercises, but rather than doing that every time, I think I'm gonna start doing like a and B workout, because I do a 6-day split, so I'm hitting legs twice a week. So I'll probably do something like squats and then leg press, along with the leg press calf raises, and then the other day, probably start with hack squat, then do lunges, and I'll get the hack squat calf raises on that day. So I get a variety of stuff. I'm able to hit those different exercises and make it more fun to work out again, instead of just constantly hitting those same ones over and over again. They have multiple versions. I got the one with the red. There's another one that's all black, depending on what you like, but I just wanted to add a little color to the gym. But if you have any questions about it, post them down in the comments. I'll answer what I can there. If there's any other exercises you could think of that you could do with this, let me know, because I'm always open to trying new things as well, and helping out with that muscle growth and strength training. But hit that like button. This was helpful. Subscribe if you're new. Thanks again to RitFit for sending this for my new, or not for my new, but for my home gym, but for a new piece of equipment in the home gym. And I'll see y'all in the next one.